Okay, what's up everybody? Carlton Flowers here with Color Boss Custom Auto Body Shop, and I wanted to do an update on the 1989 Corvette because we have not talked about this in quite some time, but as you can see, it's kind of shiny in the front. It's had the cutting compound. It'll still get the buffing compound next. And I wanted to show you what this looks like as I'm doing this process and tell you how I do my finished work. Now you see that kind of a white haze there? What that is just sanding dust. And so I started out with 800 grit sandpaper on the DA, and then I use a 600 grit on my 3-inch DA to get the edges, just to get the orange peel out of the edges, because edges are hard to get shine when you run your buffing compound or your cutting compound and you notice that your edges don't shine. It's because you didn't sand it right. So after the 800 grit with the DA, I come back and I use sanding film. And so I'll show you what that looks like. This is the 3M sanding film. This is a 1500 right here. And I just emptied this box of the Smart brand, 1200 to 1500 sheets. And the 3M brand is a little finer. It just says it's straight 1500. But I like the Smart brand because it'll bite on that first layer when you're really trying to get through that orange peel. So this is where I keep all of my sandpaper and all of my compounds. There we have it. So where you see this here, where it's really white, that's where I took that orange 1200/1500 grit sanding film with a hand pad, and I did all that by hand. And so notice how white it is here, and then as I go back, it gets less white. Well, that's because the pad, the sanding film, starts to lose its cutting ability as you wear it down. But when you first start it, boy, it's really easy. So my tendency is to be cheap and I keep going, like where I should throw away a sheet after I get done with just that much area. And as soon as I get 3 square foot or so done with that film, I should throw it away, because the more you go, then you start really digging in, putting in a lot more elbow grease, and it's not sanding as well as when it was at first. So you need to rip the thing off, throw it in the trash. That's why they sell them in the box there. Where did I put my sanding block? Oh, I'm following backwards over my items here. Let's see if I can go over here and find. There it is, right here's one of them. I made this myself. This is a hook and loop pad, and so one side has the hooks, the other side has the cotton, and this is made to go on my cheap Harbor Freight Jitterbug, which works like a inline sander. It's really good for doing like 320 grit when you're working on your sanding of your primer. We'll talk about that one next. But sometimes I'll use that with the 1500 grit film, so then I don't have to use my hands, which is hard on your hands. Man, you start cramping after a while. Let's see, here it is. Here's the orange. This is just a little pad I made. I bought some foam material, some sheets from Hobby Lobby, and then I got some foam here, and I made a sandwich, and then I put hook and loop material there. Let me show you what that looks like. I just got a box of this stuff. Here it is right here. It's like $10 a box. You get a roll of the hook side and a roll of the loop side, and you can make your own interface pads because these things are expensive. So I made my own. I like to make my own stuff. So here you can see I'm hand sanding down this side, and so I'm gonna go ahead with the 3M 1500 and go by hand, and then I'm going to put on the 2000 grit wet with by hand, and then after I do that by hand, I'll do 2000 grit with a sanding pad, and then 3000 grit with a sanding pad. This is a sanding pad with some stuff stuck to it. Whoops, that's actually hook and loop stuff. So these little thingies here is what you have. This one is what? I think this is that a 2000 or a 1000? That's a 3000. Here's another, whoops, 3000. And I think this one is also a 3000. I had one 2000 in here. But anyway, I'm going to go over it in hand with 2000 grit with the 3M paper, and then use the DA and then hit it with that 3000, and then it's time to hit it with the compound. So let's run over here and just give you an update on what's going on with the 1984 El Camino, my buddy Vic's car, who I went to high school with, fellow civil engineer. This thing was really ugly, and it was hard because whoever painted this car before me, I don't know what this paint was, but it looked like house paint or something, and it stank worse than anything I've ever smelled when I was sanding it. It was like an oil-based paint. I don't know what it was, but I've got this poor fella in primer now after doing quite a bit of body work, and I had to put the Mud Hog on it. I purchased this Mud Hog. This is an 8-inch Ingersoll Rand. Yeah, it's an Ingersoll Rand Mud Hog, where on a Mud Hog, unlike a DA, it does more spinning. You can see the random action motion. Now on a regular DA sander, it does more of this and less turning. A Mud Hog does more turning and less of this. So it'll do that jitterbug motion, but the whole time it's flat out spinning. Where the regular DA, like this one, it's not going to just sit there and spin. It's mostly going to be jittering, you know, kind of back and forth like that with some spinning. So whenever you got the Mud Hog out, you can get through thick filler when you're applying filler and you want to take down filler, or when you got some very stubborn paint like was what was in this thing. So the bed here is still pretty rough. It's very hard to sand all this out, and I'm not going to waste too much more time sanding in this bed, but I just wanted to rough the surface up enough so that it could get the bed liner sprayed on, and we are going with the Raptor. There we go. Raptor bed liner. You get the 3 bottles of the stuff there, and then you've got the hardener right there, and somewhere in this shop I have the gun. They had a special going on where it came with the gun kit, and I don't know where it is. So I'm going to do a little bit more finish work on this and probably put one more layer of paint, which will be a sealer, as I don't want any of whatever that nasty oil-based paint was coming up and reacting with my final paint. So once the big boy video coming soon, it's in the paint booth. It's getting the custom design. That is happening this weekend. So once that one gets done and goes to finishing stage, then we're going to pull in the El Camino, and it's going to get a nice little paint job of vanilla white, I believe. It's going to look really good, and I'm going to put a couple ghost stripes on the hood. It's going to be dope. And then I might hand do some pinstripes down the side. I'm going to actually shoot them on. So that's all we got for now. Just wanted to give you a quick update because it's been a while. This is Carlton Flowers, Color Boss Custom Auto Body Shop, where you know how we do it. We just shoot it.